You open a home listing, see $500,000, and immediately start adjusting your entire life. You start planning to save more, earn more, or cut back just enough to make it work. And the scary part is, it actually feels possible when you first run the numbers. The monthly payment doesn't seem insane, and the bank might even approve you. Everyone around you keeps saying this is normal. But there's one thing most people never stop and fully break down for themselves. Not the listing price, not the approval, but what this actually costs long-term. What it really takes to afford it, and what your life looks like after signing. So before you convince yourself this works, let's answer this clearly and honestly. Who can actually afford a $500,000 house? Full cost breakdown. So let's stop guessing and actually break down what a $500,000 house really costs. Because the listing price is just the beginning, not the full financial picture. First, you have the mortgage, which looks manageable when you calculate it. At current rates, you're likely paying around $2,700 to $2,900 every single month. But that's only principal and interest, and it leaves out everything else completely. Next comes property taxes, which can easily add another $400 to $600 monthly. Then, you have homeowner's insurance, which adds roughly $200 to $350, depending on location. And this is where most people start realizing the numbers are climbing faster than expected. Now, add maintenance, something people ignore until something breaks at the worst time. A simple rule is 1% yearly, which adds about $400 per month here. And if you didn't put 20% down, you're also paying PMI every month. That's another $200 to $400 protecting the bank, not you, which makes it worse. So when you add everything together, your real monthly costs land around $4,300 or more. And that's before anything unexpected happens, which it eventually always does. Income needed revealed. So if the real monthly cost is around $4,300, what income actually supports that? This is where things start to change from possible to a completely different reality. Financial guidelines say housing should stay around 28% of your income. That's the level where most people can still live comfortably without constant financial pressure. So let's reverse the numbers and see what income supports a $4,300 monthly cost. To stay in that safe range, you need to earn around $185,000 per year. That's not luxury income. That's what it takes to afford this without stress. Even using a more flexible limit, you still need at least $140,000 to $150,000. And here's the part most people don't realize until they actually see it clearly. The majority of households are nowhere near that income level right now. So when people say this is affordable, they're not talking about most people. They're talking about a small percentage who can handle this without financial strain. The house poor concept. This is where the idea of being house poor starts to become very real. On paper, you own the house, but your money is completely tied up in it. After paying $4,300 every month, there isn't much left for anything else. And life doesn't pause just because your housing costs take up most of your income. You still have car payments, groceries, gas, insurance, and everyday expenses stacking up. And suddenly, what looked easy starts to feel tight every single month. Saving money becomes difficult, and building an emergency fund starts to feel impossible. Even small unexpected costs can throw everything off and force you to rely on credit. Now, every financial decision runs through one question before anything else matters. Can you still afford the house after this purchase, or does it push you closer to stress? And that's the trade-off most people don't fully understand before they commit. You get the house, but you lose flexibility, peace of mind, and financial breathing room. Hidden costs mentioned. But even that $4,300 monthly estimate still doesn't show you the full picture, because there are costs that don't show up until you're already living in the house. Things like repairs, where something breaks and you have no choice but to fix it. A water heater fails, the roof leaks, or the HVAC system suddenly stops working. These aren't optional expenses, and they rarely happen at a convenient time. And they're usually thousands of dollars, not small amounts you can absorb. Then there are rising costs that slowly increase without you really noticing at first. Property taxes can go up, insurance premiums increase, and utilities cost more over time. Even basic upkeep adds up, from small fixes to maintaining everything around the house. And none of this is included in the number you use to justify buying it. So while the monthly payment looks good on paper, real life tells a different story. The actual cost keeps growing, and most people aren't fully prepared for that. Approved is not equal to affordable. Getting approved for a loan doesn't mean the house actually fits your life. It just means the bank believes you can make the payments on paper. But those calculations don't account for how your life actually works day to day. They don't consider your comfort, your goals, or how much pressure you can handle. Banks look at risk from their side, not from what feels manageable for you. If the numbers technically work, they're willing to move forward with the approval. But what works on paper can feel completely different once you're living it, because you're the one dealing with the payment every single month. So being approved isn't the finish line, and it shouldn't be your target either. The real question is whether the cost fits your life without creating constant stress. Real-life example. Let's make this real with a simple example most people can relate to. Imagine a couple earning around $120,000 combined, which sounds solid on paper. They find a $500,000 house, get approved, and decide to move forward confidently. At first, everything feels fine because the numbers seem manageable during the buying process. But once they move in, the full monthly cost starts hitting consistently every single month. Around $4,300 goes out just for housing before anything else. Now add groceries, car payments, insurance, and everything else required to live normally. Suddenly, there's very little room left, even with a decent combined income. Saving slows down, unexpected costs create stress, and small decisions start to feel heavier. They're not failing financially, but they're no longer comfortable or moving forward. And this is how it happens for a lot of people without them realizing it early enough. They qualify and they buy, but the lifestyle after becomes tighter than expected. It's a situation issue. And this is where it's important to understand something most people never get told. This isn't happening because you're bad with money or not trying hard enough. The system has changed in a way that makes these numbers harder to reach. Home prices have risen much faster than incomes, and that gap keeps getting wider. At the same time, banks are willing to approve loans that stretch people to their limits. Not because it's comfortable for you, but because it still works for them financially. Real estate prices are based on what sells, not what's actually affordable long-term. So the market keeps moving forward, even if most people are struggling to keep up. And when you combine all of that, it creates a situation that feels like you're falling behind, when in reality the system has moved ahead faster than expected. So if this feels out of reach, that feeling isn't random or something you imagined. It's the result of how the system is built, not a reflection of your effort. So what do you actually do with all of this information moving forward? First, stop focusing on what you're approved for and start focusing on what feels affordable. Run your numbers honestly, including every cost, not just the ones shown up front. Make sure you can handle the payment, save money, and still live your life comfortably. If the numbers don't work, give yourself permission to step back without forcing it. That might mean waiting, choosing something smaller, or staying flexible a little longer. Because the goal isn't just to own a house, it's to stay in control financially. It's to have room to breathe, handle problems, and still build your future. And if a $500,000 house takes that away from you, then it's not the right move. Not right now, and not under conditions that create constant pressure every month. So don't rush into a decision just because it feels like the next step. Make the decision that actually works for your life, not just what looks right on paper.